I thought this was just multiple laser sights at first, but you can see it damaging a wall. Hey guys, Danjix here, back with another Cyberpunk 2077 video. We're only 60 days away now and I couldn't be more pumped. Yesterday I broke down the postcards trailer and revealed a ton of details, so today I'm going to break down the gang trailer. But since we're looking at gangs, I'll preface each section with a rundown of what the gangs are and what to expect with them before breaking down all the little things you may have missed, and there are a lot of them. There's a lot to get through, so before we start, be sure to subscribe. I have a lot of great stuff on the way and I give away things all the time, and you can always unsub after. If you want to support, all you need to do is be active, dropping likes on my videos, my social posts, or even chatting in my Discord. It does wonders for me. So, this is a detailed one. Let's buckle up and get right into it. The trailer opens with a view from Night City from the Badlands. It's not really a place you want to live. Keep your eyes out for that airship there. Then we have another look at the street level with a Villefort driving among less prestigious cars. Now, I want you to count how many times you spot this car in this breakdown. Some Nicola ads on the streets, and if you want to see the animated version, here it is. I suspect it tastes like arse though. Some more mean streets, and then a city landscape view. It looks breathtaking. You'll notice we see the same airship here as we did in the Badlands shot. You'll also notice a lot of 24/7 shops, as it's really a city that never sleeps. Dropping down, we see a close-up of who we suspect is Takamura, which is hinted at having ties with Arasaka. There are already toys out of him, so we know he's important to the story. Then if you need more reason to be excited about Mud, I'll give you one. Look at the detail. Look at it. Alright, you looked. Now, moving forward. In this clip, we're asked which gang is the city's biggest and baddest according to the NCPD. We're told the Scavs hold the highest body count, or the Maelstrom depending on the season. Scavs are scavengers that kidnap people and harvest their cyberware, so it's their business to kill. We see their handiwork here, and if you remember the 2018 48-minute demo, V and Jackie rescue a lady from the scavengers at the start. But let's go into more detail with the Maelstrom. You can pause if you want and read more about them, but they have an estimated gang size of 1,300 and a threat level of extreme. They use paint editors, cyber optics, and reflex boosters. We know you attack one of their bases based on the 2018 demo, and we know that they're erratic and unpredictable. They're bordering on cyber psychosis with their heavily modified bodies in an attempt to remove the weak flesh from their bodies. You'll see their hideouts are heavily defended, members are basically not human anymore with real skin over the metallic bodies. Here we see a club that I can't pronounce, the Toe Ten Tans Club? Well, it's the most popular gangsters club and drink and riot venue in Night City, which is a significant source of their income. This is where other gangs come to party as long as they're respectful. Any night here with a body count of less than a dozen is considered crappy and boring, so basically a Dothraki wedding. We also get an updated look at the Maelstrom Spiderbot mission, with Royce pulling a gun out on you and Dum Dum clapping when you take a hit of the drugs. If you compare these two, which I highly recommend you do, you can see it's been updated quite significantly. Remember, you can approach this situation in a variety of different ways, from shooting Royce to letting the transaction go smoothly, or the one they show, letting the infected chip you get from Meredith Stout take out their defenses and download their data. So you immediately start shooting. A quick blink and you'll miss it, but there's a heavy machine gun here, given away by the handle. Then it cuts to the boss battle with Royce, which you can completely avoid, mind you, by not starting a fight with him or just killing him during the Mexican standoff. We also get a look at a modified weapon with a large scope. If we pause here, we see the rectangle weapon Royce is firing is sort of a plasma shotgun that projects outwards in some kind of rectangle shape. This means that careful dodging will let you avoid his attacks and shoot him in the back, which seems to be his weak point. Back to the start of the Maelstrom gang infiltration mission, we ride up to the hideout with Jackie, but in this instance, he's not in his car with you, but on a bike. On your bike, mate, which shows the game really isn't about cutscenes and doing things the way they were set out or intended. But now, Jackie talks about the Valentinos, and so shall I. They have an estimated gang size of 6,000, which is a lot more than the Maelstrom, and are found around Haywood. They're a medium to high threat level with reflex boosters, auto loaders, and augmented cyber limbs. They have a sense of honor and traditions, most having a Mexican background, but anyone is welcome to join and tend to adopt their culture quickly. Valentinos who died fighting other gangs, police, and corporate enforcers are often remembered as saints and martyrs, commemorated in song and depicted on murals. Even though they believe in them, they aren't saints. They operate legitimate businesses like restaurants and nightclubs, but also steal, traffic, take hit jobs, and so on. Here we see one of the gang's hideouts in Haywood. It won't be hard to recognize this gang in charge of the region as they display their logo and art around the area. Here we have the inside of the bar with a Valentino member. Look out for the religious iconography they sport with a cyber cross on some of their members' foreheads. Moving forward, we see the bar being shot up by V, missing a lot of his shots against the gang member. Then we have V shooting a pistol at another gang member who's charging at him with a knife. He's taken quite a few hits actually. You'll notice he's of African descent, which shows the gang does accept all walks. Later on, we see more members defending their turf against you. Here we see one of the Valentinos' modified vehicles you'll be able to steal or maybe even earn and drive around in. Not sure why there's a 6th Street logo on it too, but hey, we don't know enough about anything right now. Now, I'm not sure if this is the same bar or a different hideout, but it has the same light in the mid-right corner. Now, this man here is a fixer in the Hainton region. Not sure what's going on here, but it seems to be some kind of story event. Then in the next scene, you're driving with him somewhere, which lends credit to my prior statement. Then we're in a back alley dodging some stabby by these Valentinos. Now, I want you to really watch the animations as he attacks. There's variety here and it isn't just wild swinging. He comes at you and twists the blade to follow up. The gangster behind him has a melee weapon as well, suggesting the Valentinos like to stick to that Chicano stereotype of knife-wielding gangsters. Getting close and I got you ese. In the next scene, he's jumping at you with the Valentino member chilling in the background. These knife and melee attacks will be able to be dodged easily if you're paying attention. Then we have the Vilford Alvarado tricked out in Valentino colors, lowered with new rims, another car you'll potentially have access to. The devs did mention that there are multiple types of the same car, including gang varieties that you'll be able to drive. So this is number 2. The Valentinos do seem to have cute girls. This one dancing here was showcased at the start, with no visual signs of body modifications on her. This is one of the first NPCs I've seen without any. If we step away, we see another gang-occupied area, but all of these ones have modifications. Cheers to the girl eating what looks to be hot chips from a paper cone. Then we have more of street-level Hainton. It's implied that the building, Little Caliente, is Valentino owned and might even be the bar we were in before. Then we have the 6th Street Gang, and they have an estimated 2,300 members. Their main area of influence is Santo Domingo. They have a medium threat level and utilize cyber optics, pain editors, and health monitors. They started out as American patriots serving as an ad hoc police force, but are now like any other gang. Most members are ex-combat veterans, and the civilians that join are given military training. Their activities include robbery, extortion, and gun smuggling. They're also particularly good with vehicles, running many garages and workshops around the city. They also offer their services as a combat taxi for hire. So if we're predicting a particularly heavy mission, we might need to take these guys for some help. Here we see some 6th Street modified vehicles. Not as interesting as the Valentino car, but it's something. Grove Street needs protection and I feel these will provide it. In the gig trailer, we saw this 6th Street member at the street race event. God, that was a tongue twister. So I gather this race is either sponsored by or hosted by the gang. Oh, kill me now. All right, I lost my train of thought, but we're here in an area that they hang out in. It's different to the Valentinos. In fact, all the districts look kind of different to each other. Santo Domingo having a very suburban, lower income feel. Here's a stereotypical American patriot's house, a new American flag, sandbags, couch at the front. It's gated off as well. Their hideouts seem quite different to what we've seen with the Maelstrom and the Valentinos. Then we have V driving through the area in a car that's about to be outclassed with this. So the 6th Street Gang have ties to the nomads of the Badlands, and this particular car looks like it's something you'd actually want to drive. I like how the 6th Street seem to have very little mods and instead use armor like motorcycle helmets. If you look in the background of this scene, you'll see another Villefort Alvarado, but this one is tricked out in 6th Street colors. I feel like CD Projekt Red wanted us to get a feel of how many versions there are. Now you'll notice V is carrying a modified sledgehammer. For those who are worried about the game only containing bladed weapons, this is hard proof that there is blunt. Like I mentioned in my attribute guide, you'll want to invest in strength in order to utilize heavy melee weapons. Like all gang segments, it shows them being hostile towards you, in this case with guns, after what I assume is you blowing up one of their cars. I suspect that the person getting the footage here deliberately attacked them in order to get them to fight back. Here we see another heavily armed 6th Street hideout. Notice how they always like to use a lot of cover, which lends to their ex-military roots. I gotta say though, it does look a little hot to be wearing jackets, but whatever, you guys do you. Back to the conflict, and we see V defending against a crowbar with a knife. It seems to work too. We know you have blocks, dodges, and parries, but it's interesting to see it working with a melee weapon that's typically not able to block anything effectively. Plus, with the goons in the background shooting, I don't expect V to last long here. Close-up of some members dancing, possibly to celebrate after wiping the floor with V, and then we have V taking a shot of what looks to be some kind of moonshine before taking a shot at targets with a powerful shotgun pistol. No doubt this is some kind of trial, minigame, or even mission. They're about military, so it makes sense that you earn their respect by having a good shot, in both ways. Then we have more dancing, and it cuts to an old dude. He has the commanding presence of a leader and seems to be a war veteran with his beret, cyber leg, and cyber eye patch. Look at the detail on the couch. Look at it. It's better than mud. This has been a very well-loved couch, that's for sure. Then it cuts to what seems to be a post-fight with the NCPD, with a dead cop at the front of his vehicle next to 2 dead gang members. Now, I'm not sure if this means one NCPD officer is worth 2 of those gang members, but it would make sense. Before the 6th Street segment wraps up, you hear Johnny Silverhand say he hates those, and I quote, bastards. Vomit lofty patriotic bullshit, aren't they? Seems maybe Johnny's prejudice will edge you into trouble. Here we see Judy, who you meet in Lizzie's bar. She seems to be studying up on the net. She helps you with brain dancing and is a potential love interest, but seems it may only be for women though. We'll have to see. But this leads into the Voodoo Boys, who were interacted with in the 2019 E3 gameplay demo. So the Voodoo Boys have an unknown number of members, but it's estimated between 50 and 250. They are Matrix-themed netrunners who have a low threat level but extreme in cyberspace. Their turf is Pacifica, but recently they've had to share it with the animals. They use cyberdecks and neural links and cooling and all that stuff to make netrunning easy. Their gang is primarily those of Haitian blood. They're a secretive gang and distrustful of outsiders. They're dedicated to discovering the secrets of the old net and continually probe the black wall, which may be bad, as a Netwatch agent mentions if they breach it, we'll all be, and I quote, fucked. Expect a choice to side with either the Netwatch or the Voodoo Boys, as we know they'll clash during the mainline mission involving the animals as per the gameplay demo. Here we see the brain dance in which you're reliving Evelyn Parker's memories, as we can see her here. Does she have anything to do with the Voodoo Boys, or is this just a scene splashed in because it has a mysterious feel to it? Seems like you'll need to do a bit of net running, and this is Bridget in their data fortress on the net. So the Voodoo Boys get you in a bath of ice, and off you go. We don't know the specifics of why yet, but seems to have something to do with discovering more about the immortality chip in your head. We get a good look at the Voodoo Boys hideout, much like you would expect, a dark, hidden area for net running, and everyone looking like they're in the Matrix movies. Here is a Voodoo Boy who sends us against the animals. Once again, this all looks a lot more polished than the last time we saw this scene. Although it's pretty cool how his eyes glow as he tells you,
I see you, always.
Johnny Silverhand says to them, Pacifica is just Haiti 2.0, their own island cut off from the rest of the city. So Voodoo Boys are quite territorial and protective of their turf. And we see more of it here. Now, I can't be sure, but this looks like a Voodoo Boy van. If so, it's definitely not discreet, but it does have a Haitian feel to it. Not sure if this Morpheus MF would appreciate you stealing it though. Finally, we see where the Voodoo Boys point you, at the animals held up at the abandoned mall. So who are the animals? They're a body-obsessed street fighting gang consisting of 2,500 to 3,000 members. They have no isolated turf as they can be encountered anywhere. They have a high threat level and use pain editors and combat drug injectors. They use ultra testosterone and animal supplements to make themselves bigger and stronger, forgoing most traditional cyber mods. They can be seen mostly as bouncers and bodyguards as they prize strength above all else. Here we see the Grand Imperial Mall. Now the whole island of Pacifica was intended to be for the uber rich until things went wrong and construction was abandoned. Your encounter with the animals will be a violent one. They're not going to respond well to you kicking them out. We know that they employ turrets around their hideout, and you can, with the right skills and perks, either hack them or rip them out of their socket and then use them against their former masters. Turrets will display a laser light, so you're always aware of their presence. If we look here, it seems to be some kind of weapon firing from the bottom right. I thought this was just multiple laser sights at first, but you can see it damaging a wall. Perhaps a laser shotgun of some kind. Next we have V boxing with an animal gang member. This is in a boxing ring with spectators, so it leads me to believe you've challenged one of their members. Each group believes in following the strongest, with an alpha leading the pack. Perhaps this is one way to prove your strength to the gang and get through without further violence. However, this dude looks like he hits hard, with a heavily modified body and cyber eyes, so you might need a big investment in melee before you can take him on. However, time slows when you parry his punch, allowing you to get a good punch in the face. Here we look at their domain, very different to the Voodoo Boys. This is a street fight area with spectators watching the match going on below. In this case, we can join in, probably to gain their respect and eddies. Here we are fighting a She-Hulk, a woman that's clearly been over-sexualized in a game pandering to straight males. I can't wait to romance her, buy her some sweet bubblegum flavored protein shakes. Then we have an animal with similar body mod to the one we were in the cage prior. I can't make out what he's saying, but you're talking to this one, suggesting you can have good relations with the animals. Then we get another look at the Sasquatch. Yes, that's actually her name, and she's the leader of the gang of animals in the Pacifica Imperial Mall. She uses a giant hammer and has a weak point on her back. Don't let her get too close though, which goes without saying, but not for the reasons you think. She can breach your cyber implants if you let her grab you. The animals here giving us a good look at their style, either topless or in tanks, with boxing gloves to protect their subtle, delicate hands. Here we have Jackie and V exiting a building and meeting up with Meredith Stout. It's unclear if this is just the part after the Maelstrom mission or if it has something to do with the animals as well, but either way, it looks much better than what we saw in the 2018 demo. And now we have the Tiger Claws, a dangerous, mostly Asian gang consisting of 5,500 members located mostly in Westbrook. They're a medium to high threat and use reflex boosters, augmented cyber limbs, pain editors, and ECM systems masked as tattoos. They're one of the largest and most ruthless gangs in Night City, using tactics similar to syndicates like the Triads and the Yakuza. Their higher up members understand honor and business, but their rank and file is prone to cruel and unusual killings. The Tiger Claws own a significant portion of Night City's nightlife district. They also have a ton of other legal businesses that are a front for illegal activities. Here we have the fixer for Westbrook, who understands the Tiger Claws well. She and V seem to have a business relationship in the game, as she's seen to offer you a few jobs in a few different trailers now. I've mentioned fixers a lot, so for those who don't know what they are, they're people who you go to when you have a problem and they fix it by hiring the right people for the job, which is V. Cut to a fight with the Tiger Claws, and V is using a katana to block incoming fire. With my previous katana video, I assumed we could use the blade to block incoming fire, and it seems this is another confirmation that we can. Though I'm sure your proficiency will grow with skills and perks. Here we have a look at their turf with a digital dragon hovering over. In my last video, I suspected these shots were taken during some kind of event like Chinese New Year, but it may just be ongoing decoration around Westbrook. We've seen V riding on a motorbike before, but is this actually V? If so, it seems he's fully customized here, with a green mohawk and golden jumpsuit like Kill Bill's. There's no sign of it being a brain dance. Those who ask what the point of customizing your character is, if you're in first person all the time, well, it's for moments like this when you can see your character. Not sure why the bouncer isn't reacting to V loading his gun in front of him, but I have a feeling he's about to get a rude awakening. Clearly those cyber eyes not focusing on what they should be. Now we have a look at Jig Jig Street, another area showing off the density of Night City. Now, I'm not sure if this is a high-ranking Tiger Claw member or the boss, but he is using damn laser baraka-like swords from his forearms. I'm not sure who is attacking, if it's V or the guy to the left when you slow down the video, but it doesn't seem like V. Either way, it seems like this won't be a run-of-the-mill fight. Then we have more scenery, with nothing of note here except an Arasaka logo. Now here are some melee Tiger Gang members. We know they'll use katanas and kantos, but we see one of them with a baseball bat. Also note that this man is swinging his katana with different animations than the Valentino did with his knife or the animal with the hammer and so on. Every enemy seems to have their own unique attack patterns, which shouldn't be something overlooked. It's quite impressive. Now, we have a blue Gen 2 Arasaka Katana in block stance while Tiger Claws unload. I don't think V is at the Deadpool in Wolverine Origins level of bullet deflection stage yet, so expect to still take damage. Then we have a Tiger swinging a bat against V before it cuts to a scene where V is taken down by a bat-wielding Tiger Claw as it cuts to the flatline screen. Before it does, we see a decapitated Tiger Claw on the ground, most probably from your black Gen 2 Arasaka Katana. When I first saw that Arasaka Katanas could be customized to a host of different colors, I asked,
does it come in black?
Now that I know it does, I don't think I'll have it any other way. Keep in mind, Arasaka weapons are expensive, so not all members of the Tiger Claws can afford them. Now we have the Mox. They have an estimated 200 to 250 members of mostly sex workers coming together for mutual protection, like a herd of buffalo protecting against tigers at their fence. Tigers, literally, as they have a tumultuous relationship with the Tiger Claws. The Mox have a low threat level and utilize optical camo, cooling systems, and augmented cyber limbs. The Mox were first formed when Lizzie, the woman the bar is named after, was killed by Tiger Claws after defending one of her girls who was raped and murdered by one of their members. So those who specialize in combat tend to have the plastic doll look like the one here, with heavy body augments covered in a product called a real skin, which has a glossy look. Written on her leg is "fuck to live, kill to fuck," which represents the struggles of the Mox. This is a showcase of where they're mostly located, around Lizzie's bar in Kabuki. Here we see the bar and an ad for the mindfuck which we saw in my last video. Gang members out the front making sure there is no trouble, but trouble there is, as we see police sectioning off a dead body in the street. I think this was to illustrate how people took matters into their own hands when the Tigers killed one girl too many. Here's the inside of the Braindance Club. The woman in the middle needs to get on the squats, quite frankly, but it seems like a place you might spend some time in story-wise. Then it cuts to the dressing room with the girl in the middle clearly having real skin covering her torso. Even saying real skin sounds sarcastic, but that's just the name of the product. The mirrors don't seem to have reflections though, or is that my imagination? Maybe the angle's too high, or maybe they're just vampires. Then, like clockwork, we cut to a Mox brand Vilfort. I think I like this version the best so far. It's cleaner and the pearl suits it. Does this car need 6 wheels? No, but excess is what it's about, style over substance. So this guy here looks a lot like the Ripperdoc in the Postcards trailer, but I believe he's different. This sexualized man may be a pimp or a prostitute, based on the narrator saying pimp before it cuts to him. However, he's next to a love heart bed, so I guess this is a mystery I don't really want to solve. Here is another male Mox member. This one is topless though. So Kotaku, when you make that article, don't forget that males are over-sexualized as well. Speaking of, check this Mox out. She's clearly a combat model with modifications that would make a Maelstrom blush. Check out that faceplate and those arm spikes though. She's explaining how the Mox got started to V, and I assume you'll have some dealings with this woman. Then we have a look at the bar and then the booth. Let's hope none of these people have to clean up since they're doing this whole porn braindancing thing publicly. Then we have the DJ booth, and damn, she has a lot of drinks there. This looks like the VIP or private area of the club for special times. This seems like one of those rooms, with the mannequin more stacked than all the NPCs in the whole game. Then we're back to Judy's area. She's getting a bit of a sore neck, so female Vs, get your reflex attribute high and raise your back rub skills before meeting her. Then we have the outskirts and the Badlands of Night City, following Johnny Silverhand to some kind of compound hinting at missions in the area. Some people assume not much is going to be going on in the Badlands. Au contraire. Enter the Wraith. Not much is known about them, but they're a nomad group consisting of 300 to 1,200 members that live on the outskirts of Night City. Their threat level is high and they use reflex boosters, paint editors, heavily modified vehicles, and possibly military-grade equipment. We see here they're all about those modified cars. I went through car modifications in the previous video, but basically these function as a tank with no windows, and inside is a heads-up display projecting what's going on outside all around you. It'll be fun to drive. This seems like a street race, and we know V can get involved in those. In this case, I have a feeling race will be mostly a vehicle-based threat, as we see him here coming at you with those cars. Some more shots of the Badlands, and then the Wraith hideout in a Corp Bud building, which leads to another nomad gang, the Aldecaldos. Tens of thousands in total, but around 500 to 600 in Night City regions, have their threat level at an estimated medium, and they're known to use reflex boosters, as well as heavily modify cars and bikes, very similar to the race, but these seem more friendly, especially in the nomad life path, during which you meet this girl, who's a potential love interest for V. She clearly knows how to handle big rifles, so keep that in mind during character creation stages of the game. Since they're nomads, their hideouts are makeshift and able to be packed up and transported at a whim. We also talked about heavily modified cars. Just look at this one. As you can see, no windows, but improved suspension, sensors, tires, armor, and more. This one is on the same line of the same street race we saw before, so it seems like it's Aldecaldos versus race. Maybe it's a choice you have to make. Now here is V driving a modified pickup truck through the Badlands. We haven't seen V drive a vehicle like this before, so it suggests that there will be vehicle stats to consider beyond just speed and handling. Here we see the truck stationary and side on. It has Militech markings, but that's not suggesting this vehicle's Militech, rather it was repurposed from Militech. We see Militech utilizing vehicles like this when interacting with Meritus Stout, and we know nomads like to conduct Fast and the Furious style convoy raids, so put two and two together. Then we have a scene running from what seems to be the law, but it could also be corpos like the end of the Nomad Life Path prologue. They believe in family, so here we have some members mourning at a gravesite. The grave is marked with an X and seems a little impersonal, don't you think? You can see their theme is very much derby racing. This is a beautiful look at the variance in the Badlands. Almost a Grand Canyon feel to this part of the Badlands, with an unfinished or broken bridge leading to the other side. Just look at the detail in the rocks, just look at it. I'm so blown away with this game. And then we have V attacking the Wraith hideout with an SMG, but it doesn't look like it's going well since the screen has that red static that appears when your health is low, probably from that grenade. Then we have another battle, but this time with Militech. I'm getting the feeling that you can tie yourself up with the convoy Meritus Stout had stolen from her, and that's how, if you took the Nomad Life Path, you know a little more information about it. There are an awful lot of Militech here for it to be not a convoy, though it could just be the whole passing the checkpoint thing. Clearly this guy doesn't understand personal space and how to get a decent sleep. But look at the happy couple in the back there. Round 2 attacking the race. This time it goes a lot better. We can see the grenade exploding before it's thrown. More family and Badlands, and ta-da, we're all finished. Hopefully this gave you a good overview of what to expect with the gangs and the game come November 18th. Which gang stands out most to you? Let me know below. Do the typical YouTube stuff, so you know when I'm about to post the next juicy video, which won't be far away. So until next time, friends, ciao.